Hey kids, welcome back to the channel. I'm Zach, not Kyle, or Zach for short, and today we're going to be discussing the wacky world of the mistreatment of Volibear in League of Legends. Voli is an interesting case when it comes to his designs, mainly due to weird splash art choices, color theory, NRP disparity, rework shenanigans, and more. But before we get into it, I want to tell you guys that I'm going to be streaming over on Twitch starting May 25th, so go follow me over there and support me if you can. Follow my Instagram and Twitter, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Doing these things helps me out greatly, and it means the world, so thank you so much for that. And now, with that said, let's talk about the visual mistreatment of Volibear in League of Legends. For some proper context on where the issues with Volibear start, we need to look at his visual status pre-rework. Before his rework, Volibear was an armored, stocky polar bear with some outdated skins and a die-hard small player base. Riot realized how outdated he was and put him up for the rework polls in 2019, which was won by him. It was also technically won by Fiddlesticks, but Voli did edge him out slightly. With that, the next year was slated for Fiddlesticks and Volibear to be redone and revamped, and they were. Fiddlesticks came out first and was exceptionally done. Volibear came out a few months later, but some fans, including myself, were a bit let down by the winner of the poll getting a worse rework than the technical second place. No hit to Diddlesticks, but still. All of Volibear's skins saw updates. He got the 1000 Pierced Bear skin, and he was picked up by more players. But let's take a look at some of the fundamental issues with his default skin before we get into the really weird skin marketing problems that made me want to turn into the Space Group Nasus emote. For the model and overall visuals of Volibear, I consulted the r/Volibear main server. Here's what some of them said. So this user said, "I like how he looked from the waist up, but it looks like he's been skipping leg day. Looks a bit off balance when one of his arms are thicker than both his short legs. My man Bear gotta do some squats. Oh no." Another user said, "His face is the only thing I think needs improvement. His face looks pushed in, the maw specifically, correct me if I'm using the wrong term. I don't know if they actually are, I don't research bear anatomy." Finally, this user talked more about the animation, saying, "Looks pretty good overall. Only things I dislike are the W1 animation, his arms are way too stretched during the animation, and the Q run animation while he's in his R. He looks like a gorilla instead of a bear," which I kind of agree there. Here's what we can take from this. Volibear's face is comparably worse to his old design due to some weird shape choices. From what I can see, his face is too narrow for a polar bear and a stocky one at that. We also need to look at how disproportionate his legs are. For this, let me reference another game with bear characters in them, Tekken 7. They actually have two, Panda and Kuma. They have bear-esque anatomy, and it stays true to that because they are actual bipedal, non-verbal bears. However, Volibear is a bipedal talking overlord bear with a run animation representing an actual one. And as we saw earlier, some Voli mains said he looks more gorilla-ish than a bear in that animation, which is a little bit weird. His design in comparison to his older one is noticeably thinner in every way. I wanted to note this because in the Splash, Volibear is a lot bigger and more reminiscent of his stockier, older design. But to sum things up, he is a slimmer face, slimmer figure, pushed in nose, and a different altered posture with legs that are slimmer than how regular bear anatomy usually works. It was just awkward to look at. He honestly looks almost worse than previously because the old design was just not textured the best. It's odd to see a beast character have such a drastic change, and a not very good one at that. Also, can we look at this really quick? So this was the main concept art for Voli that was released. He's a lot bigger here, and it looks like they used a rounder shape composition versus a boxy one in the final model. I think they really should not have used this art in that case because it's quite a difference. Anyways, we're gonna move on from this into his skins because they are a doozy, Mary. The skin disparity for Voli isn't as bad as other cases on this channel, thankfully. Kennen and Rumble were horrendous. He has been in the 1000 Days Club though, which is notable, but there's a more pressing issue with his skins. When you look at the lineup, Volibear does not have a skin higher than 975 RP. That's a little bit of a problem, Barbara. For context on what that means, none of Volibear's skins have met the threshold of 1350 RP, and those skins are important because it means that the champion is getting skins with 4 key features to make a good skin. These features include being in a collection, having new AU or main story lore, new visual or sound effects, and new animations. Except Volibear never crosses this threshold, and he's been around for almost 10 years. That's gonna be a yikes on trikes from me. In terms of the skins themselves, I wanted to talk about the issues with 4 of his splashes in particular: Rune Guard, Northern Storm, Thunderlord, and his default. When you look at these skins, you'll notice how similar they look. In fact, I used Adobe Color to make palettes for them, and without moving any of the values, unless if they were on a background, they come back extremely similar, with Northern Storm being the only real notable change. While that's weird in and of itself, and could be seen as redundant, I would go as far as to say that these are straight up incorrect splashes that need to be recolored. But why? Okay, so here's all the color pick splashes. Okay, now here's the RuneGuard model.
Somebody lied to her several times and told her that she was fly, hot, and sexy and beautiful, and she's nothing like that. She's nothing of the sort.
No, this is not a chroma. No, I did not make a mistake here. These color theories are blatantly wrong and lost in translation. It's funny because of how easy to fix this is. I don't draw in the same style as Riot's splash artists, but I know how to fix it. With the skin tones, Northern Storm needs to be tinted velvet, and the other two need to be turned into grayscale tones. I think the background also should be lighter because it looks too blue, thus too similar. That's my big gripe with these skins in particular. Now let's discuss the final topic of this video. So how do we fully fix the conundrum that Volibear's in? Well, we actually do have a similar situation to compare him to that has been fixed. It's Renekton's. Basically, Renekton had the same issue as Volibear, aka not having any skins at or above 1350 RP in almost 10 years of existence. But then, Riot gave him Black Frost in March of 2020, and they also gave him a legendary following this, being Project, coming out in a couple of weeks. We can debate that choice, but we can give this to Volibear. So here's the steps. Number 1, give Volibear an Immortal Journey skin. It's rumored for this year, and I think giving Voli that skin or even Debonair 2.0 would be perfect, considering that they gave it to Galio. 2, give Volibear and Ornn legendaries in either a Worlds line or a Spirit Blossom event. These two would be perfect, and Ornn, fun fact, almost got a visual Mistreatment video when I was making scripts for this channel when I started YouTube. However, I ended up scrapping this idea because of Elderwood Ornn giving back to the community so much because of the amount of charity money it raised. It was like $7 or $8 million, it was insane. Number 3, fix Voli splashes and their color theories. We don't really have to get into it because we already did a few minutes back in this video. And number 4, continue with a new 1350 RP skin for Voli every 400 days or so. This keeps him consistent enough, and this could even be shortened considering how fast League of Legends is pumping out skins right now. And really, that's what Riot needs to do. With how it works out, Volibear would be in a solid visual state by around 2023 and have a bigger base if the model splashes and skin pricing were fixed. So what did we learn, kids? In conclusion, Voli is a very hot mess right now, but with a bit of help from Riot Games, he could prosper very soon if he's in the right hands, and I cannot wait to see what happens with him. And with that said, that's gonna be it for this video, so go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to become not Kyle. If your name is Kyle, that is illegal here. As you can tell from the name of my channel, you do have to get a new birth certificate. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. And with that, I will see you guys later. Bye, sis.
My sexy neighbors, they threw a party last night. I got so wasted that I drove into the garage. My famous bestie, she picked me up in a Porsche. We fled the scene and no one cared, cause I'm fucking hot.